saying electoralism is all socialists should do. Dramatic. Commie Jesus posted this. So let's have a look. This is a clip from the Hassan stream. Oh, there's a Discord window open? Oh, wait. I'm a very pro streamer. There we go. Okay. Okay, here we go. Get ready.
That is so incredibly disingenuous. Their opposition is to electoral struggle, not a people-powered struggle. The power of a Democratic senator is...
Okay, wait.
That is so incredibly...
Okay, he's already established. He's already talking to someone here called Fat Nuts. If all the countries are about to make opposing capitalism in any way consider terrorism, why are they even trying to win elections?
Disingenuous. Their opposition is to electoral struggle, not a people-powered struggle. The power of a Democratic senator is inherently limited by the Democratic Party, the party of open genocide, and you know this.
Okay, here's Ops's. That is so incredibly disingenuous. Their opposition to electoral struggle, not a people-powered struggle. The power of a Democratic senator is inherently limited by the Democratic Party, the party of open genocide, and you know this. Exactly. This is what I was actually saying right before everybody raided in, which is, can anybody at all tell me where are the non-establishment Democrats? What does that mean? Because I often hear reference to these establishment Democrats that are the real enemies, right? Or the like how can you I like what always throws me for a loop, I guess, is how can you have a non-establishment Democrat? Doesn't being a Democrat inherently make you pro-establishment? Does the Democratic Party not inherently exist to serve US imperialism? No matter how many crumbs of the imperialist super profits the Social Democrats want to break off for the working class here, they don't fundamentally address imperialism, which is the main problem. Right? And the failure to address imperialism is what then allows whatever you want to call it, we could say fascism, to be exported all around the globe. Right? And that's what we have to understand. Have any of these non-establishment people been voted in and not capitulated to Dem leadership? That's what I wonder. Or what can they do exactly, Dan? Like vote against what? And then the thing I'm wondering is, how can one do that within the electoral process, though? How can one do what within the electoral process? You can't do anything. The electoral process is a realm purely for us to teach the limitations of capitalism in. There is no other. There is no other means for electoralism. No, electoralism will not, because this system is not broken, right? This is what Marxists understand. This system is not broken. This system is set up to be an imperialist system. What we have to deal with is not changing this or that Democrat, not changing a certain amount of the Democratic leadership, not even electing a certain really good leader. What needs to change is the literal laws, right? Like, there needs to be a change of the actual structure. And you can't do that by just going in and changing laws until all of a sudden you have a proletarian state. That's what we've learned. That's been the experience for a long time. Took Mamdani no time to call Maduro and Diaz-Canel dictators right before the US invasion of Venezuela. I mean, they're still in prison there. And he's saying he might arrest Netanyahu. Meanwhile, there's been Israeli Day parade. You know, I mean, it's a good example because it shows, like, no matter how good of an individual Mamdani might be, he cannot help but run up against the limitations of the capitalist system. Right? That's 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 always going to be the case when you're working within the system itself. Which is why Marxists understand that the reason why they participate in elections tied to an independent party, tied to a workers' party, is to try and gain visibility and highlight the limitations of this system. Like, yeah, I mean, that's just the thing. There's two problems here, right? A, revolutions are not made on good intentions, and B, the state is not set up as this benign thing that stands above society. That's what we know, right? Because the state is set up with a very definite goal, with very definite class interests in mind, we can never take over the bourgeois state. What is this? What is he doing? What's happening? What's. I'm sorry.
I think I'll probably kill myself instead of having to spend any time in prison with a fucking dickhead like this.
What the fuck?
If push comes to shove.
What? What the fuck? Wow, that's incredibly dramatic. Over that comment? I'm sorry, I need to read the comment again now. Obsessus says, that's so incredibly disingenuous. Their opposition is to electoral struggle, not to people-powered struggle. The power of a Democratic senator is inherently limited by the Democratic Party, the party of open genocide, and you know this. So, pointing out the limitations of the Democratic Party, pointing out the limitations of trying to work within the system itself, and this is the response you get. But then it's framed as we are the ones doing leftist infighting. Like, what?
A fucking dickhead like this. If push comes to shove. Okay, because like at least if the people in the prison are chill.
This is, and actually, like, this is a good highlighting of something I've been saying all last week. I feel like, right? I've been saying tough ideological conversations between our comrades, or at least those who consider themselves to be potential comrades of ours in DSA or Democratic Socialists or whatever else, right? Anytime you try and have an ideological conversation about that, it's this kind of response. It's, you're splitting the left, you're being a wrecker. Bush, welcome in. I don't post my whole thoughts to YouTube, but I usually go through and try and like cut out some interesting parts of stream, and I do put those on YouTube. Right? So, but that's what gets me. This is like a good highlighting of every single time. Like, it doesn't have to be Hassan, but a lot of times when you try and make any kind of ideological discussion about what the tactical limitations of electoralism and entryism is, this is the kind of response you get, right? It's like, it'll be either, the funniest stuff is when they say you're a wrecker or whatever the fuck, as if the left is actually just this big tent broad thing, right? Which it's ridiculous. You're not being a wrecker. You're only being a wrecker if you're in the same party. If you have agreed to the same party line, and then you're fucking destroying the party over some little disagreement. That's what being a wrecker is. Having ideological conversations with people who aren't even in your party is not being a wrecker. It's just talking. everybody, everybody, understand that anytime I know, we see the name right on stream. I will say, his name will get you caught up in the auto mod. Auto mod. It's nothing against anybody personally. It's just the name itself can cause a distraction from the actual point of the discussion. We're using Hassan here as an example, right? But something I want to point out to you is, notice what I'm explaining here. Notice that I'm explaining that it's not just Hassan, right? You can talk to anyone who's a diehard democratic socialist, anyone who's an entryist functionally. And if you try and explain what the Marxist Leninist view on the tactical limitations of electoralism and entryism is, you will get maybe a response that's not as dramatic as this, but again, you'll get a response that is sort of like this: you're a dickhead, you're some ableist slur, or they'll say that you're a wrecker, right? Or you're splitting the left, which is nonsense. Because anybody who doesn't materially oppose imperialism is not really on the left. Right? To truly be on the left, you would have to oppose imperialism. So what we're doing when we have those ideological conversations is making sure we're very clear about the delineating line, which is anti-imperialism, and identifying who is standing with us across the line against imperialism. Because it's like I said, a great deal of DSA members are that. And they don't even realize that because they have spent their lives in America with false consciousness and getting bombarded with anti-communism their entire lives, right? So there's plenty of people who can be reached, who will understand these things. And then there is the diehard representatives who simply defend the DSA no matter what as an organization and as the strategy that exists, which is dominated by an entryist strategy. Again, I'm not talking about individuals in the DSA here. We're talking about the DSA strategy itself as it exists and has existed since its creation, which was about gaining entry into the Democratic Party in large numbers. Okay, with that disclaimer out of the way, let us continue. Yeah, I mean, this is my thing, Kubashi. This is, and those who think that this is the way to progress, fine, right? We'll agree to disagree on that strategy. But I'm not gonna shy away from explaining what I think is wrong with that strategy. Just like Hassan doesn't shy away from explaining what he thinks is wrong with the revolutionary strategy. Right? He's showing he has no problem explaining what he thinks is wrong with the revolutionary strategy and why he thinks reformism is the superior strategy. So then why is it us who are splitting the left when we explain from our perspective what is wrong with the entryist strategy? That's what I don't get. That's the hypocrisy that I kind of see that comes from our comrades in that camp. And what's amazing is how many times have we gone around the reformist circle, right? Not to be a dick, but we've gone around the reformist circle so many times in the West. So many times. Over and over again, right? NDP, the fucking DSA, Bernie Sanders, like fucking hell, you know, we've seen all of it. Jeremy Corbyn's and fucking Jack Layton's, and you know, there's a reason why it's, and it's not a matter of being impatient, but there's a reason why it's not even that revolution hasn't been brought about, but institutions that revolution can rely on have not even been built. And in fact, the opposite has happened, where any revolutionary energy that existed in, like, workers' unions, for example, have been sucked out of them through a Red Scare anti-communist campaign, right? So that's what we have to understand. Yeah, best of luck. I hope they succeed. I've read too much history and to believe they will, but best of luck. Exactly. And Obsis is in the same way they critique our strategy, we will critique theirs. And DSA members that come up against limitations of working within that strategy, they'll hear us, in my opinion. Yeah, microplastics. I have no idea what you're talking about. I have never seen Kubashi defend DSA. If they have, they have. If they haven't, I haven't seen it. Let's focus on what we're talking about right here and right now. Cinnamon has. Well, there you go. See? Again, I'm not trying to change every single individual Demsock. I'm talking to people in chat right now who might be Demsock. That's fine. We're not witch hunting people in here, okay? People have bad takes. That's okay. We're all here to learn. Okay.
So
Either way,
that's fine.
Either
right?
way, people in here, there's people in here, Manticore. As far as I'm concerned, there's people in here who could have defended the DNC this morning, for all I care. Okay? That's not my criteria. No, and here's the thing. Whatever, I don't either. I don't even know the guy, right? It's not even about Hassan. This is just, we're using Hassan because Hassan is a spokesperson for democratic socialist entryism. Am I wrong about that? Am I wrong in saying that Hassan is probably the most prominent democratic socialist, like, reformist that there is right now? So why would I not look at this as like an example of those positions, you know? So allow me to continue.
If we're going to jail as like political dissidents, at least if the other people are, like-minded, kind-hearted individuals, that's fine. But those the nihilist LARPers are also going to be in.
Denialist LARPers. Like, what was unkind about Opsis's comment? This is what's funny, right? Oh, you were unkind because you pointed out that the Democratic Party is inherently imperialist or inherently fascist.
That prison, and I don't know if I would rather spend any moment in prison with these fucking dumbass LARPers.
I want you to, and I want you to take note here that he keeps saying dumbass LARPer. Okay, actually, let's take a detour right now. He's calling Opsis's a dumbass LARPer. You know what? I'm gonna make this video full screen. Actually, I'm gonna make this video like this. Let's just take a minute. First of all, look, and there's nothing wrong with getting a nice shirt, a nice suit from China. Okay? We can all agree that there is definitely nothing wrong with getting a nice suit from China. However, what I will point out is that this man has been wearing a suit on stream every single day, right? He recently has been wearing a suit every single day on stream, saying that he's wearing a suit because that will bring in the older audience and get them looking at him. So now when he's going to the Democratic Socialist Convention, I just want you to notice that now he's wearing a Mao shirt. Right? That's kind of funny. After going on and on about how Obsis's was a LARPer for pointing out that the DNC is inherently imperialist, that makes Obsis's a liar. But now but when it's time to give a speech for the DNC, he's wearing the Mao shirt. And now let's listen to what he says.
No more to Trumpism, but no more to the Democrats who compromise.
No more to Trumpism. What the fuck is Trumpism? Chat. What is Trumpism? There is Trumpism is not actually a thing. MAGA? I mean, sure, but what is MAGA then? What is MAGA aside from just a simple something that exists right now under capitalism, right? It's nothing. It's not a unique thing. There is already fascism here. So when you're saying Trumpism, again, you're peddling this. Right before Trump, we didn't have fascism. Now with Trump, we have fascism. That's what this narrative is doing.
No more to Trumpism, but no more to the Democrats who compromise, who conciliate, and who betray us.
The Democrats who conciliate and betray us? That's all of them. It's all the Democrats.
No more to the fascist reactionaries, but no more to the Democrats who will collaborate and cooperate with the fascists, who will fund ICE, who will fund Israel, who will help poison the planet, who will stiff workers and help bosses.
See, I just want you to see. Like, do you notice this separation here? Every radical, every revolutionary, essentially, has been able to understand that America really is one party system. Just in typical American fashion, in typical American exceptionalism, it's got two of them, right? It's got two single parties. But what he's doing here is, instead of pointing that out, instead of hammering in that very basic fact, we have here rhetoric of rescuing the DNC. He's saying not no to the DNC, not no to the DNC, which is inherently an imperialist party representing the interests of corporate America. He's not saying that. He's saying no to these particular Democrats who are betraying the other Democrats, the non-establishment Democrats that exist in his mind, I guess. But the problem, again, as I've explained it, is it doesn't matter how well-intentioned someone is, how anti-establishment someone might be in their brain. The moment they go into the DNC and begin working within the confines of the DNC, the law of this system, then they are immediately made into a reactionary in that aspect, right? You cannot be otherwise. It is literally impossible to be otherwise. Arguably, he wouldn't be there if his message was closer, for example, to Fred Hampton's. Well, and that's just it. And I do think that there is kind of a misunderstanding of some of the attack towards him. As in, some of the attack towards him is interpreted as, I'm attacked because I'm so revolutionary, rather than I'm boosted in these magazines because I'm the compatible opposition. Because I represent the extreme of what they're willing to allow. Right? And in doing so, it also silences everything to the left of that. Because that's also what he does. We see him do it all the time. We saw him do it to opposites. Anyone who critiques that strategy of reformism or entryism is cast down by him, is insulted by him, is said that they're crazy, or they're a dick, or they're being mean, or whatever you want to do, right? The one thing I'll say is the idea that Hassan doesn't punch left is bullshit. It's almost all he does. That's what I'll say. Because what he does is he actually gaslights people and says, I'm as far left as you can go. He says, I'm as far left as you can go and still be sane. Right? Like that's what that's doing then, is taking PSL, FRSO, WWP, and anybody else who is forming those types of alternative organizations, those alternatives, institutions, and he's throwing them under the bus. So every PSL member is crazy. You know what I mean? Anybody who's to the left of me on that is crazy. So that's what because I am trying to avoid using the word. I'm just saying it here to explain how Hassan engages in ableism. I do have the word crazy blocked from the stream. It's not a knock against anybody who gets, again, for anybody who gets auto-modded in my channel, it's nothing, no knock against you. We don't keep note of it. It's just a matter of making the stream as comfortable as possible for all the comrades in here. That's it. I can still see your messages. We just ask, consider alternative language when possible.
No more to the fascist reactionaries, but no more to the Democrats who will collaborate.
See, no more to the fascist reactionaries, but no more to the Democrats who will collaborate. They're both the reactionaries.
And cooperate with the fascists who will fund ICE, who will fund Israel, who will help
DNC
poison
is the
planet,
fascists.
who will stiff workers and help bosses. We don't need those Democrats anymore.
See, right there. We don't need those Democrats anymore. We're going to have the good Democrats now, from now on.
In fact, we have a message. We are coming. We are on boss. We're on bot. We're unbound. And we will become undeniable.
Wearing a Mao shirt.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to, I don't know how deliberate it is for Hassan, but yeah, Chimera, I absolutely get what you mean. Say, the use of ableism is very specific and, in my opinion, deliberate. It's a way to condition his audience to view everyone to their left as unreasonable and even insane, quote unquote.
The third world has been going on for 400 years, brings us to another revelation. Namely, that the third world is not.
Thank you so much, Strin. The reason why, in case you're wondering why that badass sound alert just happened, it's because my comrade, my mod here, just subscribed to the channel at tier 3, comrades. Everybody clap, please. That's a tier 3 subby from Strin Sam. 70% of your contribution goes to Larry. Thank you so much, comrade. That means a ton. Those tier 3s really, really go a long way. Appreciate you so much. Thank you, Sam. And you too can hit that based sound alert by getting yourself a tier 3 subby. All right, you've heard that now. Let's go back now that you've heard the Mao suit speech. Let's go back to hearing Hassan talk more about abscesses, shall we?
Then that's fine, right?
Whoa!
Call me, traitor to our
Alberta Socialist, thank you so much, comrade. Thank you, for dropping a 5-bomb on our head. That means a ton. Holy shit. We are very close to unlocking Happy Fun Time now. Let's go. Thank you, comrade. Alright, let's hear some more of what he says to abscesses. Now that we saw, yes, our community member abscesses. Actually, I'll back this up a bit, Chimera, so you can see. See, abscesses just says, because Hassan was scolding somebody for not being reformist. Abscesses says, that is so incredibly disingenuous. Their opposition is to electoral struggle, not a people-powered struggle. The power of Democratic senator is inherently limited by the Democratic Party, the party of open genocide, and you know this. So now that we've saw that speech with the Mao suit, listen to his response again.
I think I'll probably kill myself instead of having to spend any time in prison with a fucking dickhead like this. If push comes to shove. Okay? Because at least if the people in the prison are chill, then that's fine, right? If we're going to
if I go to jail and the Nazis are nice to me and they don't critique any of my political positions, I prefer that than to sit in people who also want human beings to be clothed and housed and fed, is what he's saying. I'd rather sit in the prison cell with the nice Nazis than the other people who sometimes critique a political strategy of mine, you know, despite the fact that we agree on everybody wanting to be clothed and housed and fed, etc., apparently. Very strange.
If we're going to jail as like political dissidents, at least if the other people are, you know, like-minded, kind-hearted individuals, that's fine. But those LARPers are, the nihilist LARPers are also going to be in that prison. And I don't know if I would rather spend any moment in prison with these fucking dumbass LARPers.
Denialist LARPer.
Dog.
Dumbass.
I don't know how to explain this to you.
And nihilism is so silly. It's like those of us who those of us who find a revolutionary opportunism in PSL or WWP strategy.
Okay, Jacob, you're in control. Don't do
somehow
This is it. Let's fucking move it.
we're the denialists. Like, what are we denying? Okay, we have another hype train happening. I'm just gonna push through this. It says it's level 3 for some reason. If hype begins, I will engage in the hype train. So there's a hype train. If you want me to engage with it, gift the subs and the biddies, and you'll get an extra break from this. But what's funny to me about this is I find that most people who are in this political spectrum, who are in the reformist, entryist spectrum specifically, very invested in bourgeois potential candidates, I find that they tend to be the most nihilistic people, right? And their entire hope rests on individual bourgeois, the potential individual bourgeois candidates. They tend to be the most nihilistic people. And in fact, their hope is so fragile that when you actually try to... Chai-Class, thank you for the 100 biddies! When you try to point out any kind of critique of their person, their hope falls to pieces. And they do this. They get mad and they accuse you of being nihilistic, right? Whereas me and those of us who are, you know, really driven by revolutionary enthusiasm, in my experience, when they see someone insulting or making a bad critique of China or DPRK, do we just accuse that person of being nihilistic? No. From what I see, the response tends to be a militant opposal of their rhetoric, right? Shoring up a strong defense of USSR, a strong defense of DPRK, right? What's going on?
It's fucking disgusting.
What?
This drink.
This drink?
Yeah.
Well, you gotta drink it.
Oh.
Silver Spook, welcome in. My wife's gotta go for colonoscopy and she's gotta drink a big glass of something. It's clear.
Take a sip.
I don't want to take a sip.
It's fucking gross.
She's gotta drink the drink. You gotta do it.
Yeah, it's fucking gross.
Yeah. Everybody, it has been refrigerated, I think.
Oh, but I'm going to for the next one.
You didn't refrigerate it?
I know, I used cold water. I smelled it and I was like, oh, it's lemon. I taste the electrolytes.
Yeah.
Don't just drink it all in one go. I'm like, I want to get it.
I'm sure she's got her phone with her. Ree says, coat your tongue in Oragel. Even if he doesn't want to go the road our community member recommended and wants his work to be another avenue, he should welcome that others are going beyond electoralism. This is what I was saying, Chimera. This is what I don't get about this, right? I guess this is kind of what bothers me. Whenever we try, and I feel like I don't know if I'm the only one who's experienced this, but it feels like whenever Marxist-Leninists try to give a critique of entryism and reformism, we are met with like disdain or accusations of splitting the party, etc., right? But for some reason, it's okay for democratic socialists to decry us as being too far left, being unrealistic, being like everything that he said is seemingly okay, right? But whenever we mention our critique of entryism, like this is the thing that I'm trying to point out, I guess. Instead of calling us wreckers, we should be able to have these conversations, right? DSA members, tell us what your actual critiques of the Marxist-Leninist revolutionary strategy is, and Marxist-Leninists will give DSA members, or democratic socialists in general, our critiques of what the entryist and the reformist strategy. That's not splitting the left. That's strengthening the left. Then people can see more explicitly where you stand. People can see more explicitly where they stand, understand where the delineation is between us, and thus work where they think they fit best. So even if your argument is that all these people have different strategies and they're working within their strategies, fine. Then you should make space so that others can hear those alternative left strategies. Instead of gaslighting all of those other alternative left strategies, is simply being, whatever, ableist word. I mean, what he wants to do is, let's be real. Whenever he does that, right? And Carnos, thank you so much for the skull emoji. But whenever he does that, whenever he says, everybody to the left of me is crazy, or this person is whatever, he just wants to use, let's be honest, an ableist slur. Right? In the context of what he is saying. If you think about what he is actually saying. It's just a stand-in for an ableist slur, a way to go, you're all whatever, to shut the position down, rather than addressing what the actual content of the position is.
We don't have any other options.
No other options.
Okay, we don't have any other option. You don't have another option. You don't have anything else. I'm not saying don't organize outside of the electoral system.
You just said there's no other option, though. Right? Like, that makes no sense. I'm not saying don't organize outside the electoral system, but there's no other option.
Okay.
And then we're just sitting in silence.
My position is not antagonistic to yours, but yours is antagonistic to mine for some reason.
Comrades, does it sound like his position is non-antagonistic to Opsis's based on what we heard? He just said he was going to KYS himself after reading Opsis's chat. You see what I mean? Again, whenever there's a critique of the entryist strategy, we're hostile. Do you see that? We're hostile. Like, this is gaslighting. It's like, it ends up being, you know what it ends up being? It's us highlighting the difference in our strategies is then accused of us attacking them. You see that right here. Whether it's in the rhetoric of you're splitting the left, you're wrecking the left, whatever else, That's what this is, right? It's you're the one who's making it out to be hostile. Not what was actually said. Nothing Obsis has actually said was hostile. Unless you think that the DNC is just some benign organization that can be turned into a Labor Party, which even he claims to not believe that. So it gets very confusing. This also doesn't square with the approach of calmly and patiently explaining your position to the masses. Write a fucking strategy paper if you want Marxists to believe you. And that's a really good point right there, Chimera, because I think that actually speaks to what the problem is here. Why is nothing good enough? Just go with the flow and be happy for what you have. Yeah. Right. I think that what you're pointing out here is kind of an explanation though, Chimera. Like the reason why there is this response is because that's what is left with Tailism, right? I think this shows the difference between Marxist-Leninists who study material reality, study political strategy, and how to move forward based on historical lessons of other socialist countries, for example, and this entryist strategy here, which doesn't really have that same history. So instead, they're left with Tailism. So they can't actually explain their position or refute your position or explain their position. So instead, what they have to do is gaslight you or virtue signal, if you will, dog whistle to the mainstream background assumptions by saying this is where the masses are at, so how can we be beyond the masses, right? It's like instead of actually explaining the position, instead of actually going against it, all they have to do is go, look, this is where popularity is, and we should be tailing that popularity. And that's the disconnect. When our strategy, we want to understand where the masses are, but we want to be right ahead of them, directly ahead of them. And then while being directly ahead of them, while trying to be the leadership of the masses, we also need to integrate with them. But we can't do that by tailing them. We have to understand where the masses are headed. And are the masses headed back to the polls, chat? Are electoral numbers growing all the time, or is the opposite happening? Tailism is basically Kubashi when instead of understanding the direction that humanity is heading, instead of studying what the direction of revolution is, it's basically taking whatever is popular in that moment and using that to basically justify a reactionary position. Whereas, again, Marxist-Leninists, we want to build a mass movement, but we want to do it by uplifting the masses, by being a leader of the masses. Right? And so that's why again, we have to make sure that we understand where the masses are going. And this is why, again, I'm going to ask you, comrades, right? Because he's saying this is the only way forward. I'm just going to ask you, comrades, the Democrats, right? Or anybody. Even the national elections, your local elections, I bet, are getting even worse. But are national elections getting more new? Is the participation growing? Or generally speaking, if we look at the long course of things, are the participation in electoralism getting lower and lower? Right? So then you got to ask yourself, where are the masses at? Are the masses really focused in on this or that bourgeois candidate and trying to figure, which one is ready to serve them and which one's gonna, or do essentially your average person look at the candidates of both parties and go, both these people want to screw me? Right? Your basic apolitical person is looking at both parties and going, they both want to fucking screw me. Right? And so they either don't participate in voting or they do it in a very passive way where they see some things that the person says and they just vote based on that. I mean, yeah, Brad, that's obviously an important question too. But the reason why I'm asking this is because there is this virtue signaling to the popularity, to where the masses are at, right? And again, what we know where the masses are here, what we know where the masses are here is that they are getting further and further away from electoralism, right? He might legit believe and support electoralism is growing because he spends all day consuming election-focused bourgeois media on stream because that's what drives his viewership. Absolutely. Absolutely.
The first chatter was not antagonistic to you. He was just saying that why do they even care about elections if they're just going to declare everyone terrorists? It's multifaceted because they understand that elections still matter. They understand.
They understand that elections still matter. No, see, again, this is attributing more of a consciousness in a sense that exists, right? Like they don't, it's not that cartoonish, right? Like the reason why those electoralism exists and all of the attacks against electoralism functionally is a way to legitimize the electoral system while at the same time trying to basically work their way, make it easier for the bourgeoisie to put their policies in stone. Right?
That a senator holds a lot of power. They understand that a congressional representative holds a lot of power. Elections are, in some ways, a popularity contest for ideas as well, even though obviously corporate interests and moneyed interests try to render that democratic process useless. But
no. See, again, this rhetoric right here is nonsense. This is where you don't have class consciousness. This is what I was saying just a little while ago, where the missing of class consciousness is. Because when you're saying that there is an electoral process in the US, or the US has a democracy that is now being undermined, you're wrong. Because what it has is a supposed class collaborationist democracy, which we know can't really exist. Quote unquote class collaborationist democracy will always be a democracy of the rich against the working people. That's always what it will be in function. So we actually have not a democracy for us, we have a democracy that is used against us. Right? So that doesn't mean democracy for us. That doesn't mean something that can be fixed. That means there is a particular this, and that's, by the way, why we want to overcome parliamentarism. We want to overcome whatever the fuck the U.S. has.
A popularity contest for ideas as well, even though obviously corporate interests and moneyed interests try to render that democratic process useless. But
they're trying to render that democratic process useless. Again, what does useless mean? Right? The democratic process, sometimes it gets in the way of them making profits, which is why they attack it like they do. And then them attacking it like they do helps to give that legitimacy. Again, this is not something that's done on a very conscious fucking level. Some people it is. I'm not going to deny that. But for the vast majority of it, it's set up that way systematically to protect the system of capitalism from it destroying itself and from the poor overthrowing it. That's the two jobs of the capitalist state.
If someone with that level of power, with a popular mandate, comes into
the
halls of power, they can be a reliable defender of the democratic process.
Right there. Right there. See, again, what? I'm sorry, I gotta hear this again.
Mandate comes into...
If someone comes in with a popular mandate...
comes into the halls of power, they
go into the halls of power now with a popular mandate...
A reliable defender of the democratic process.
And they'll be a reliable defender of the democratic process. Again, what democratic process? At what point in the US's history has it been democratic for the poor, for the colonized? Misread. Thank you. Right? Like, at what point was it even a democracy for poor white people? When has that been the case? In fact, the only reason it has gone as far as it has is the struggle against that bourgeois democracy. Is the struggle of workers trying to undermine that bourgeois democracy and then them doing whatever they can to overcome that.
Slowly but surely, they can put up a big fight, make a big fuss.
A big fuss. And again, like, and I see someone in chat here saying, chat, use every tool in the toolbox. Sure, then let them use that tool. But then they should allow us to use our tool of critiquing electoralism. Those of us who understand the limitations of it, rather than trying to shut us out, call us LARPers, whatever else, and then go on to give that speech with the Mao shirt on, you know? Like, let's be consistent.
And gum up the works, if you will. This is why I keep repeatedly explaining that winning Congress, even with assholes, like right-wing Democratic assholes, is still, unfortunately, something that we have to do in the interim. Obviously, I'm more focused on making sure that every single elected representative is a real fighter, is a socialist, or at least like adjacent to our and aligned with our values, right? But we also, at the end of the day, need to maintain a Senate and
see again, like, which Americans, like the people out there, you can go out and talk to Americans right now, and Americans, 99% of them, like, I guarantee that you go out and talk to, especially like in blue collar, like labor work jobs, a single one of them ain't gonna give a shit about the American democratic process. I'll tell you that right now. Even in the white communities, because they're fucking disillusioned by it also. Again, like, most working people ain't gonna fucking waste their time going and trying to vote for this asshole or that asshole, because that's literally the way they're looking at it. I've been in blue collar work my entire life. I've talked to these people. Like, most fucking workers in the US are not like tuned into their TV trying to see which fucking candidate is saying which fucking things, right? They don't give a shit. They don't. They care about why the fuck the groceries are getting more expensive, why the fucking rent is going up constantly, right? And only that insofar as they care about these candidates. It's only in that fucking, for those reasons, that they care about this or that, those people. Right? Like, that's where most people are. So this idea that, like, you're gonna get in there and, like, bring forward these insurgent Democratic candidates, and then what? It's a bunch of people are gonna come out of the woodwork to vote for them again? Because, they'll believe their promises this time. Or do you think the voting numbers are still gonna be really low because past experience over and over has taught people that this system is not working for them? This system is working against them. I get it. Like, I don't think there's going to be a serious uptick in voting numbers. Right? I really don't. Which is why, again, I think that it's a mistake for this to be any kind of focus of our strategy. I want politics. I want politics to be known as not talking about bourgeois candidates, but talking about how we can come together, pool our resources, and struggle against an oppressive system. That's what we want to try and normalize, that kind of politics. So that when people hear that word politics, they're not thinking of the bourgeois circus.
And House of Representative majority. We need to maintain a
Yeah, Smackies, it's okay. He wore a Mao suit earlier.
Majority in Congress so that Democrats can get together and start gumming up the works. It's one aspect of it. It's not, oh, it's a facade. Oh my God. Dude, you have no other options, man. You have nothing. You have nothing. Okay. You don't know anything. You don't have anything. It makes me lose my fucking mind when we have this conversation. Okay.
Because he has no rebuttal to it.
Oh.
I've never actually seen a rebuttal.
Okay.
I'm going to play a clip that I play a lot
I don't know
after
why people
this.
in here are just like, nope, just walking only, please. Actually, I'm not even going to walk. I'm just going to yell at people chewing gum. I'm going to sit at home and yell at people chewing gum. That is my advocacy.
But what's funny about this is that's what he does. Any one of us who are doing something other than electoralism, and many of us have been for years, we just get yelled at by democratic socialists as being wreckers.
That's
or
my
whatever.
Resistance. All right, congratulations. How are you any different than the fucking SJWs that you hate that yelled about whatever TV show was not issuing a fucking trigger warning or something? You're literally just as unproductive as those guys are. Okay?
Nonsense response.
That's it. It's just LARP.
Just LARP. Okay, here's another person that Hassan thinks is a LARPer. I just want you to look at this clip as well. This is my favorite clip, perhaps, of all time. It really just kind of, it highlights it all. It's just, again, you see, the person that he's gaslighting there, our comrade, is being a LARPer. You know, anybody who's on that spectrum is a LARPer. And, you know, so I just want to look at this here. Actually, we're going to look at two things. We're going to look at this for, fuck it. While I smoke a joint, if anybody would like to redeem 420s, by the way, that would be great. I'm going to hold on to that, Evan. If anybody has the 420 redeem. Oh, that's still 14 minutes. Okay, well, type 420s in chat, because right after we see this clip, I'm going to watch another one. I'm going to need it. But I want you to see this, okay? Just think about how let's see a LARPer. Let's see one of the LARPers. Why don't we? We're going to compare Hassan, the non-LARPer, with a LARPer. Because, you know, they're on the left and they critique electoralism. So let's see.
I got a question real quick. I'm the chairman of the Black
Carnos, thank you. Cat.
Hey,
everybody.
How do we solve this right here? How do we solve these issues right here in the community?
Keep showing up.
You tell me.
Keep showing up. Keep. Look, we live under at least a theoretical democracy.
There's that word again.
Democratic process. Sometimes people make decisions. Sometimes they disagree with the previous decisions that they've made, even if they voted for a particular party or a person. And when things like this are happening, when we have people that are being unjustly detained, people that are simply waiting for their court dates, or people who are already at their court dates.
People waiting for their court date or at their court dates.
You want me to move?
Stay focused. You good, my boy. Hey, you heard me? Stay focused. You good. But the people that's what you call it? Like you, Hassan, stay with me, baby. Ain't nobody coming. They're not coming to do nothing to us. Yo, listen. I ask you a serious question. It's like most
you demonstrate.
Most people come.
You're right, Glittersnatch. He literally has rose-colored. Oh my god, I never realized that. Man literally is wearing rose-colored glasses.
No, I don't have demands. Stay focused. Stay with me.
Not your demands. I'm saying their demands. There are demands that are being made inside of this facility by people who have been unjustly detained inside in heinous conditions.
And how we solve this? How do we solve this?
They keep protesting, and we keep showing support for them with the hopes that eventually it gets to a point where these institutions that are doing this violence feel a sense of accountability.
So you just keep protesting, and then eventually the oppressors will feel bad.
You a socialist, right? You're a socialist. That's a political philosophy, right?
Yes.
That's what it says. As a socialist, that's what you're supposed to do. You keep protesting, and the people that you protest and change things. That's not what it say. Hey, yo, you know why I asked you that question? Because you're a fucking fraud. Hey, yo, all these people following you and shit, you're a fucking fraud. The fuck out of here. What happened that quick? He's a fucking fraud. He don't know what the fuck he talking about. People following him because he got money. Yeah. You know, look at him running. You don't know what the fuck he talking about. Motherfucker running this shit. The fuck out of here.
Yeah, it's like his manager or something, Smackies.
They just use this shit for popularity, trying to make money. They trying to use this shit to make money. Get the fuck out of here. You fucking cornball ass motherfucker.
Welcome in, lawsuit.
All around all scared and shit. There's been people out here all week. What the fuck you scared of?
My bad.
This part is most revealing next.
Man, now that we yo,
Careful. Careful.
careful.
Good shit.
Like, you don't even have no fucking answer. How you solve it?
Yeah.
Just coming outside protesting. You protesting, the people that you protesting gonna change their mind.
Yeah, so all right, so update, Hassan was here for 20 minutes and now he left. So yeah, all right, so apparently he is just about getting content and not actually doing the work, because the fucking Proud Boys were here longer than Hassan Piker was just now, so
Jesus.
I'm actually pretty disappointed.
Not a good look.
But you know, it is what it is.
Vote organized by the Proud Boys.
This is Democracy Now!
Not a good look, you know?